that is in excess of £10,000. So you quite quickly add up. Shake that camera. I did tell you.
Well, hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. Welcome back to the ever awesome Alexander's Prestige. In today's video, I'm going to be doing some casual car shopping. Really some tyre kicking. Because if you don't know, my current garage lineup includes my Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale, still quite wild to say that out loud, my GT3, which I love and I've just installed rear seats into, then a long-term loan Jaguar F-Pace SVR, and you may have seen it on Instagram or even here on YouTube Shorts, also a BMW i5. It's kind of an awesome four-car lineup because the Challenge Stradale and the GT3 I'm going to be using for big adventures, road trips to create content with. They're kind of the toys. Then the F-Pace SVR has become the de facto family car. We've done like 5,500 miles on that thing so far. Then I'm using the i5 as a daily whilst I try and kind of wrap my head around what living with an electric car is all about. The problem is, in sort of May, June time, both the F-Pace and the i5 have to go back to Jaguar and BMW respectively, meaning I've got to start thinking about, well, what to replace them with. Now, if I'm honest, I fully expect my wife Vicky to just go out and get another BMW X3. We've already had two of them, she loves them, I kind of love them as well. They're the perfect family car for us. I think on the used market, 2 or 3 year old cars represent pretty good value for money. But that leaves a hole, therefore, for me to start thinking about what my daily could be. Now, you're probably thinking, hold on a sec, Sam. Why don't you just use the X3 or the Challenge Stradale or a GT3? Who needs 4 cars? Well, no one. No one needs 4 cars, but I've spoken about it a little bit before on this channel. On a day like today, I couldn't have taken the family car because Vicky needs it at home to cart around our daughter. And doing a 400-mile round trip on the motorway up here in the GT3, as I'm doing today, feels a bit pointless. It's no less special, but just seems like a waste. I think I would rather have something which is a bit more of a cruiser, a bit more comfortable, that I can do those kind of slightly more boring long-distance road trips to and from various video shoots. I mean, essentially I've just justified this in my head. It still doesn't really make sense. It's really over the top, but yeah, that's what's happening over the next few months. I'm going to be trying to work out what a new daily could be. And at the moment, I don't really know where to start. I've been considering everything from an Abarth to an RS4, a 996 911 Turbo, a Panamera, a Mercedes S-Class. But one car that keeps cropping up every time I do a used car search and I go, that's interesting, it's the Bentley Continental GT. Mainly because very early cars with high miles, you get them for like 15 grand, and that feels like a lot of car for the money. Probably a lot of bills and inconvenience for the money, but it's at least intriguing. And Alexander's currently have a pretty nice, quite late example, Continental GT, currently in stock. So I thought I'd come and have a look around, nose around it, see what it's all about, maybe go for a bit of a drive, work out whether it's worth taking a bit of a gamble on a bargain Bentley. But before we do that, let's walk around the showroom and see what else is here, because there's always awesome stock and I want to waste some salesman's time. Now, if I was a very wealthy man, this is the Bentley Continental GT I'd be trying to buy. I've been banging on about this generation ever since I first had a go in one back in 2018 or so. I just love these things. Problem is, they're still so expensive. This beautifully spec'd GTC, i.e. the convertible version, it's 180 grand. I think the cheapest coupe I've ever seen is like 125, 130. Yeah, no, that's a serious car at that point. Maybe an early Bentley will give me some of this experience, who knows? Well, I've come outside to the windy forecourt because as amazing as the cars in the showroom are, well, they're things like SF90s and STOs and A12 Superfast, and it's not exactly what I'm considering as a daily. So yeah, let's move on to this pair. 718 Cayman T's. Obviously I have my whole love affair with the 911 T. Well, it's essentially the same concept, the same recipe that's applied to the 718 Cayman. I lived with the 718 Cayman S, well, back in 2018 as my daily, so I know they're very good daily, super practical, super usable, quite comfortable. I like the whole T ethos, so about 45 grand, that red car, so it's still a little bit punch in terms of my budget, but interesting. Maybe I've moved on in the Porsche world though. I feel like I'm more of a 911 guy now. Could I have a GT3 and a Cayman T? I don't know. Now, regular viewers of this channel might think I'm mad for pointing out this, because obviously I owned an RS6 for about 4 months. Really didn't gel with it, so why am I looking at another one? I'm not really, but I'm just pointing out this beautiful Nogaro edition. I've never denied the fact this generation RS6 looks awesome. It is so beefy, it has so much presence, and I love Nogaro blue. This is a very cool bit of kit, and I like the fact it's got silver trim. The world has forgotten about silver trim. Like, everything's black, everything's black, but just bring back some silver chrome trim, people. It's lovely. Now we're talking. Now we are talking. The Alpina B3. For me, a little bit of a car that kind of got away. I had the opportunity to buy a green and tan Alpina B3 at the same time as I got the RS6, which I just explained was a bit of a failed venture. I think if I'd bought the Alpina instead, well, I'd still be in it today, because yeah, I just got it all a bit wrong, and I've always kind of lusted after these cars ever since. I obviously love the M3 Touring. This is theoretically a bit more of a comfortable version. There is a problem though with Alpinas, and that problem is the fact that these cars are insanely expensive to finance. God, they're lovely though. Oh my God, this is such a nice place to be. I should not have got in here. I shouldn't have got in here. This car has now sold, so that's the only reason I allowed myself to step inside. But yeah, a sort of new list price. These are like 20 grand more than the M Lite, so like an M340i, about 5-10 grand less than the M3 Touring. But yeah, when you start financing them, they're like 200 or 300 quid more per month, because the residual values are kind of all over the place. Financiers don't seem to know what to do with these things. So yeah, just inherently, it's a bit of a turn off unless you're just buying one cash and you don't care. Not me. But yeah, this is, it's going to be that car that got away. I've got to work a bit harder, don't I? Make some more money. Now I'm going to head inside in 2 seconds, stop wasting yours and Alexander's time, and we'll go and check out the Bentley. But last car I wanted to kind of and ah over is, look, a commercial Defender, the Defender hard top. This is a really interesting concept, because I've always loved the Defender 90, and if it's a daily I don't need to be as practical. We'll have the X3, I mean look how huge it is by the way, next to the Macan GTS. That's also an absolute beaut. But then it's a business vehicle, isn't it? Like a bit of STG logo or BTG logo. It's got its benefits for being a commercial vehicle. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. I don't want 2 SUVs, that seems overkill, but I can't avoid those. But anyway, let's go and find this Bentley. So here we go then, the car I've come to see, a 2016 Bentley Continental GT V8S. This is a Phase 2 car. It's literally just come into stock. It's actually so fresh to the dealership. Andrew from Alexander was a little nervous for me to film it. He's like, it's not ready, it's not perfect. I've been standing around it now for about half an hour getting some shots, and I mean, it looks nearly perfect. But if you've seen any of my content here before, you'll know the level of prep that these cars go through before they end up on sale. It's quite outrageous. I actually don't know how these guys make any money. But yeah, if you do spot anything, Andrew wanted me to remind you, all of that will get sorted out before the car goes on sale. It is also, though, a very nice example. It's low mileage, it's been well maintained, as I say. To me, to the naked eye, it looks kind of perfect, which means that when it goes on sale, it's going to be like 65 odd grand. It's probably more than I'm going to want to spend on my next daily. I've been kind of alluding to it so far in the video, but I think my budget for my next daily is going to be like 35 or maybe 40 grand. Now, you can find Phase 2 Continental GTs with a few more miles, maybe not as well maintained, for the sort of early 40s. So I could stretch if I wanted to, and I think I want to, because it's a bloody Bentley. Always love these things. Who remembers the Top Gear Australia adventure with the yellow car? Well, that was a Phase 2 Continental GT, and ever since then I've kind of always lusted after them. It just looks beefy and cool, and I may have to end up looking at a Phase 1 Continental GT, which would mean an older car with probably more mileage and inherently more problems, but it is what it is. Now, the reason I think these cars become so attractive is because, well, from new, they're so damn expensive. I showed you that beautiful orange GTC earlier. There are loads of money, these things. So when they get down to the kind of 50 grand mark, it's like, oh, hello. But that's because they do come usually with a lot of bills to run them, to maintain them. But I don't want to get caught up in that right now. I want to stay excited. I haven't driven this generation Continental GT since like 2016 or 17, so I think first things first, let's get behind the wheel of this car, go for a very short drive just down the road here, just to remind myself what it's like, because in my head, it's like the perfect car for me. On a day like today, when the weather's crap and I've got a big long motorway drive, I could just waft up here in this thing in comfort with a great sound system, big old V8 engine. But it's got 4 seats, a big boot. I mean, I could do a cross-continental trip on one of these things with my family. It's got an element of practicality. And it's a bloody Bentley. That's just cool. But yeah, I've got to make sure that the reality lives up to the expectation. Then we can come back here and maybe get a little bit more serious. And I tell you what, we'll go and speak to the service team to see, like, well, what they're going to be looking out for when they give this car its pre-sale inspection, and what the big scary things that can go wrong with these cars are. So that I know what to look for, maybe you know what to look for as well. Oh, look at this in here, and oh, my seatbelt has been brought out to me. How wonderful. Now you may be able to see it, there's a trade plate in the front windscreen of this vehicle, so if you're wondering what that is, it's just enabling me to drive this car out on the road. It's only going to be a short test drive, but you know, got to make sure we're doing things properly. Of course, fully electric seats, what else would you expect? Electrically adjustable steering wheel, everything feels so quality, just the, oh my god, the buttons, everything's knurled. I've got seat heating, seat cooling, adjustable suspension, adjustable ride height. What's that, rear spoiler? Let's turn the ignition on. V8S on the dials, old school proper analog dials. Winner, winner. So what does that do? Yeah, that's the rear spoiler. How do I put it down? Cut. Oh, now it's down. Okay. I'm learning as I go, people. So that's funny. There's an engine start stop button down here, but I know you can also turn the key. So we'll learn about that. Big old display here. What happens if I just press map? So it's got sat nav. There we go. Radio, climate control, these nice aircon vents, a Breitling clock there. Let's power this thing up. It is a big old V8. Okay, so what do I do? Do I turn the key or do I use the button? Let's try the button. Ooh. Now, as I mentioned, this car hasn't been prepped yet, so there's a couple of bongs for some, I guess, faults that are going to be ironed out. Should we come out of like a sport mode? Look, damper setting. I'm going to go all the way to comfort. Come on. I'm an old man after all. I'm buying this car for comfort. I don't want to be in sport mode. I'm going to waft. I mean, it's just such a lovely place to be. But anyway, here we go. Big old gear shift lever into drive. And let's just move the Bentley out of the showroom. Now, there's a McLaren GT which has appeared out of nowhere. It's the thing with a dealership like this, is just stock appears all the time. You're inside for like 2 minutes and oh, no, new car turned up. It gives me a chance, I guess, to check the manoeuvrability of this vehicle, because I do live in a city, so I need to make sure I can maneuver it. Feels like the turning circle isn't great, but visibility is pretty good. Got parking sensors, but no, like, you know, modern cameras. Oh, there we go. There's reversing cameras, which is pretty awful, but we'll take it. Oh, and I've just caught my reflection in the showroom windows. I look amazing. Cruise on past McLaren GT down this fairly narrow alleyway. Now, the thing is, compared to many modern cars, this actually isn't that big, but it feels huge. Sitting here right now, and it is not my car. It's a car that is going to be for sale, so I'm trying to be very cautious. I think I've got much more room than I realised, but yeah, it feels like a little bit of a tank. But we've made it out. I'm going to come past all the surface vehicles now. It's always so busy down here, it's crazy. I haven't quite got my seating position correct. I've now forgotten where. Okay, mirrors. Let's adjust the mirrors over here. Oh, look at that! RS7! Oh, I think that's an RS7 Performance. That's amazing. Getting a wheel refurb, it looks like. Another, well, that's a Cayenne GTS. They've got like 3 turbo GTs in at the moment. Snake around here. Oh, this thing is lovely, people. This thing is so lovely. The steering is so light. Oh, we've got a traffic jam. Can I actually sneak through there? I'm inherently nervous about the size of this thing. Maybe because I also can't really see because of the trade plate, but I'm going for it. I'm just going to launch it. If I scratch all the way down one side, well, I'm going to get a big bill from Andrew. Now that's a car that I like. A Rapide. Okay, we're getting distracted. It's my GT3. Let's continue to focus on the Bentley, which so far is ticking absolutely every single box. Oh, that waft of the V8. Now, of course, these cars launched with and more iconically come with a W12. I don't think I really care which engine is in the car. The V8 does make the car a little bit more nimble on its feet. I think potentially suits it, but the W12 is more iconic. The W12 is fairly bulletproof, so from a reliability point of view, it might be the route to go. But I love a V8. That's probably my favourite engine out there. So, oh, it's so comfortable. Honestly, I really wish I was driving this back to London. There you go, massive bump, and you heard it and you felt it, but I didn't really feel it through the seat. I just felt it through the car. It's the thing about these cars is you are not getting in it for cornering speeds, for apexes. If I ever put one of these things into sport mode, I would probably be drunk. I wouldn't know what I was doing with myself. I would just want to just cruise in this thing. When the cameras are off, I'm going to test out sound system in here. I don't know what we've got, because nowadays all these modern Bentleys come with, is it NIME or NAME audio? But I don't know what's in here. But big old speaker up there, and oh, but look at it! Look at me! I feel wealthy. It's like, yeah, it's in my Bentley. Until something goes wrong, then inherently I'd be very, very poor. Do people appreciate Bentleys when you're out and about, or do they think, what a tosser? It's hard to know, isn't it? I think it is a bit of a tosser move, but oh, that noise. Everything's up to temp, so we will give it some welly out of the village, but in a very Bentley kind of way. So look, I'm going to do what I said I never would do. I've gone into sport mode. Oh, that throttle's very responsive. Let's put the dampers up just a couple of tweaks. Don't want to go full sport. I'm not a lunatic. There we go. National speed limit sign. Let's see what happens. What a lovely sound! Ah, delightful. I've actually got paddles. Oh, pops and bang from the exhaust. Oh, boys and girls, this is a wonderful car. You are wafted. I am floating above the road ever so slightly, like I'm not looking to attack this corner, which I have done in the more sportier things that I've driven from Alexander's, like I kind of want to scrub off a lot of the speed and then, oh, actually the front end isn't awful, but you just are aware of the weight, but oh, the engine performance and the gearbox. Okay, it's 2016 this car, so it's not the oldest Bentley you could get, but it's not particularly new either, and whoa! Oh, I have to get me one of these cars. Like I have to. This thing is amazing, and it's got great space in the back for a very small child. Oh, cabin feels roomy. The windscreen is narrow, that gives it that sort of sporty element, but as I can see out really well. What else can I tell you? It's just the quality. It's just the quality. God knows how much these cars were new, but I'm assuming 160 odd grand. And it feels of that ilk, the leather, the stitching, all the buttons. There's nothing particularly cheap feeling apart from maybe the plastic around the screen. Everything else is just glorious. Oh, surely if you get a car that's like well maintained as per this one, how bad can it go? I couldn't, could I justify this much money on a daily? Like it's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, you do. Corners are not something that this car particularly enjoys, but straight lines, motorway journeys, why am I still in the sporty? Come out of this. I can definitely feel the bumps a little bit more in that sportier damper setting, so it's cool that right off. Have I got any other driving mode settings? I don't think I do. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. It's a wonderful car. It's a really, really wonderful car that I think you could do many, many miles in and just keep all of your fingers crossed that you're not going to break down in. let's get back to Alexander's and find out how crazy I would be to try and buy, well, probably realistically, a worse version of this, or even an older version of this. Am I mad to want an old Bentley? I think I want it.
Do you like it?
Oh, mate, I mean, you know, it's me, isn't it?
Well, it's classy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Thank you.
It's classy. It's dependable and it's classy.
I just thought it was just a waft machine, which is what I need in my old age. But I've made the worst mistake possible. I've basically driven the best example, because that's a lovely car, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think probably I'm going to be more phase one budget.
Well, that's where your problem is.
Yeah,
that's where your problem is. If you don't get the right phase one with the right warranty, there might be a problem. Do you want me to give you some insights into what it's going to be like?
Well, I was going to ask, could we go and chat to the service guys to see like what the big bills are, or what they look at, or what I should
Do you
look
really
at
want
for?
to hear that?
I think so. Well, I should before I go and buy one.
Right.
Yeah?
Well, let's give you some information. Yeah.
Okay, let's go chat to them.
Come on then. So, this is Alex that runs our service department, Sam.
Alex, before I even shake your hand, I spied this through the window today. I didn't realise it had some crazy kit on it. What is going on here?
Yeah, it's quite unique. It's probably the best word I can use for this.
I mean, right up your street, Andrew. You love a bit like this.
Style.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, promise me you're not going to upset this man, because he's thinking about a phase one Bentley.
Depends how brave he is.
Oh no, don't say these things. So, okay, look, here's a prime example, right? I mean, I'm not sure. What even kit is this? Do any of us?
Man kit.
Herman, okay.
Don't see too many of them.
Yeah, I'm not certain that'll be my
not
vibe.
for sale.
Not, okay, fine.
It's in for
Well,
maintenance.
Okay, well, surprise, surprise. If I was to go and buy, because I don't think phase two feels like a bit of a stretch for me.
Yeah.
If I'm going to buy a phase one, firstly, what should I be looking out for? And secondly, how catastrophic can it become?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a great example. So actually, if you come round,
Yeah.
the biggest ticket, which actually Bentley never seemed to get fully on top of, is water ingress.
Right, and we live in a very wet country, so that's already
Very wet
worrying me,
country,
yeah.
a lot of trees. It can come in a couple of ways. First way is through the fuse box. Quite often have electrical problems, they'll be removed and not refitted correctly. The other way is through the drains on the scuttle panel. They block up, allows the water to track back into the car, and then you end up with this.
Oh, so this is what this car
This is what this car's in.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
So you then get into wiring looms, ECUs. Cars of this age, they're not available. So you end up with a 2, 3, 4 month lead time, and the bills to come with it.
Yeah, okay, that's already a bit worrying. So essentially, if the car smells damp, steer clear. Yeah. Okay, so let's pretend I found a nice dry smelling one that's been kept in storage.
So a nice dry smelling one. The earlier V8s are renowned for turbo problems.
Okay.
It's a VAG engine. So what happens with those is the oil strainers from the turbos block up, starve the turbos of oil, and ultimately the turbos fail. That is in excess of £10,000. So you quite quickly add up.
Shake that camera. I did tell you.
Wow.
Yeah. And the real kicker actually on these is if you ever needed to remove a headlight,
Yeah.
you've got to take the wings off, which means taking the doors off.
Was that the bulb changes?
That's what you can. If you've got very small
my God.
cautious hands, you can get in for the bulbs. But yeah, if you need to remove a headlight, it's doors off, wings off, remove the unit.
Are the phase twos better?
They're certainly better.
Okay.
Yes, they're certainly better.
Buying
don't have as
a
much
nice
character.
low mileage example with warranty from a company like Alexander's would be the perfect idea.
I knew that's where you were angling at. Yeah, I knew that's what you were angling for. Oh, but the thing is, they're so cool. Like, look at that interior. So what? This must have been like a 2005 or something.
I think it's a little bit of an early one. This one, yeah, it's one of the first.
And
this
look
has got
at
the
it.
full custom interior as well.
It's stunning. I mean, the kit outside, well, you know, it's unique. I've got Pasha seats on my car, so I really can't talk about styling. But,
True.
I mean, they're just so cool. And at the 15 or 20 grand
Probably,
mark,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what a thing. But I'm sort of realising that actually, if you're going to do it, you should probably try and stretch to
Do it properly.
a phase
Yeah,
two,
I
or
would
at least.
agree. Yeah, yeah.
This is a real passion project. for each other,
Yes.
so, yeah.
Well,
And it needs to be.
I mean, with whatever's going on here, it definitely needs to be. Oh, well, look, thank you, mate, for maybe giving me a reality check, if not crushing my dreams slightly, but I guess that's
Either
what
way,
you're here to
we'll
do. Yeah. Oh, God, help me, Andrew.
Come with me. Let's talk about something better. Come on. For what you need a car for. You've got classics. You know what they're like. I think you need a younger Bentley. You should buy a facelift car.
I mean, you're trying the upsell today, aren't you?
Well, I'm honestly thinking for you. I think you need one of these under warranty. I think you need a fresher car because this is going to be your daily driver. You don't want headaches.
Yeah, I mean, look, and probably that's the Bentley that I actually want. I mean, that's a proper serious car. I'm selling a GT3 or a Custodian for that. I'm not buying that as a daily.
Yeah.
So realistically, maybe I just need to work harder or wait until I win the lottery and then get one of those as a daily instead. Maybe be a bit more realistic with the...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got plenty of time. None of this has to happen for a good few months, so I'll probably be back. If you keep me posted on the lower end cars that come through.
I'll be straight there. Definitely on a GT3 Ford arrives, I'll be ringing you.
Yes, a Ferrari FF, circa 50 grand, please.
Yeah.
Good to see you as always. Catch up soon, mate. Bye. So part of me that's quite disheartened. I love that Bentley so much, but I know it makes close to no sense to go and buy as a daily. The thing is, it's unlikely to break down. I mean, the engines, the gearbox, a lot of those cars are solid. It's just the labour required to fix things and all just the small niggly bits that just tend to go wrong. I mean, that water ingress stuff is scary. I've actually just found a buyer's guide over on Piston Heads which outlines some of the costs that Alex was hinting at. I mean, it talks about 15 grand or so to replace like the harnesses, the electrical cabling and stuff like that if you get that water ingress problem. They also talk about head gaskets going on W12 engines. That's like another 15 grand bill. To replace the radiator is like 600 quid. They apparently corrode or get blocked up very easily. You've got to pull off the entire front bumper. I mean, it does say in general stuff is good, but if it goes wrong, it just adds up. And yeah, you know, I'm going to go out there and buy a 30 grand Phase 1 Continental GT and end up paying 30 grand in maintaining it for a year or so. So yeah, I've got to give up the ghost, like Andrew said, and think outside the box. Or make some more money. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Stay subscribed. Plenty more adventures coming soon.